Hi, my name is Henry and I'm with Belmont Butchery, and today we are going to cook a steak. We're going to show you a foolproof and easy way to make a perfect steak at home every time. The first thing we're going to talk about today is the steak itself, what cut and what to look for in a nice steak. So this right here happens to be a New York strip. It's a beautiful cut. You'll see it's got a really nice fat cap on top. It's not too excessive, but enough. And then if you look inside here, you'll see all the nice bits of marbling, the interior marbling. That's what's going to give your steak lots of juicy flavor. There's a few things that seem simple, but they're quite important when you cook a steak. And one of the first things is you want the steak to be at room temperature when you cook it. So when you bring it home, it's been in the refrigerator at your grocer's. It may have been in the cooler or in your refrigerator at home. So I want you to take it out of the refrigerator, leave it on your counter for a steak this size, 1.5 inches. I would leave it on your counter for about an hour. And nothing's going to happen to it, but you want it to come up to room temperature, and that's going to help it cook evenly throughout the cooking process. Now, on a high-quality steak like this is, really all you need is salt and pepper. There's no need for marinade. There's no need for anything really else except for just salt and pepper. And we really want to aggressively salt and pepper. Most home cooks do not use enough salt. This is a big piece of meat. It has a lot of weight and girth to it. So you need to season it enough because remember, you want every bite throughout the thickness of the steak to taste good. So we're going to really aggressively season this with salt and pepper on all sides. We just have coarse kosher salt and a medium grind pepper. All right, that looks good. And then you can pat it down a little bit. You can actually roll it around and the stuff that's on your cutting board. So there we go. Now we're ready to cook this steak. Today we're cooking in cast iron, and we're going to sear it in cast iron, and we're going to finish it in the oven. So we're going to get this really hot. I mean, really, really hot. And if you put your hand down close, you'll be able to feel how hot it is. And we get nice color on all sides of the steak. Then we know it's time to put it into the oven and finish cooking. So I've got my pan really nice and blistering hot. You can actually see the smoke coming off of it. And now I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, just a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and sear this really nice and hard. Okay, so now I think we're starting to get some really nice color on this side. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. I like to flip it over on the fat side to get the fat really nice and crispy also. So we're just going to roll it up. See this beautiful, nice crispiness we have there? It's not burnt, it's just beautiful, dark golden brown. Alright, so now we have this steak beautifully seared on all sides, and we're going to go ahead and get ready to put it in the oven. Remember, I preheated my oven to 450 degrees, so this is not going to take long. So here we go. I've got my pot holder. It's very hot, and into the oven she goes. So this is not going to take too long. So about 1.5 inches, I would say about 4 minutes probably for medium rare. So I've got 6 minutes after now, so about 10 minutes after, or about 4 minutes from now, we're going to pull this out and let it rest. All right. So we've taken the steak out of the oven now, and if you want to check for doneness, one of the ways that I do it is I just give the steak a little press. And if you see, it's firm, but it springs back. If it was not done, it wouldn't spring back like that. And if it was overdone, it would be firmer to the touch. So it's very similar to the pad of your thumb, especially if you have pudgy thumbs like me. But anyway, if you punch it just like that, that's what your steak should feel like. Now we're going to let the steak rest for about 5 minutes. It's very important to let your steak rest because it lets the juices in the steak reassimilate into the meat. And that way when you cut it, all your juices don't run all over the board and they stay in the steak and keep it nice and juicy. Rosé all day, every day.
You don't mind it being with steak?
I think rosé is a great pairing for many things, especially in the summer. It's going to be 90 degrees today. I don't know about you, but I really don't want a big, heavy red wine, whether I pair it with steak or chicken or whatever. I want something to be really delicious and flavorful, and I think it'll pair beautifully with this steak. All right, so now we're ready to carve. So, like I was saying, this is a nice size steak to carve and share. So I like to carve mine a little bit on the bias. So we start at this end and just give it a nice, not too thin, not too thick slices. And you can see that this is just a beautiful medium rare. We did this for about 4 minutes. If you wanted it a little bit more done, you could do another minute or two. And then, so what I would do is I would just take this and I would just portion it on a plate. Maybe serve it with a nice baked potato, a nice tossed salad. And just everybody can get their own, beautiful piece there. Just lay it out nice and fan it. Really, really gorgeous. Just absolutely mouth-watering. I can't wait to try it. Let's dig in here, see how this is. Absolutely scrumptious. Mouth-watering, tender. You couldn't ask for more. Thanks for tuning in. Tune back next week. We're going to cook a sturgeon.